In this video, we'll look at an example of how to create an indicator in ProBuilder to generate bullish signals on an asset in a positive trend using the stochastic indicator and two moving averages. The goal of this will be to put into applications lessons learned about programming in the previous videos. So here on this chart, you can see that I have added two moving averages, a 20 period moving average here, and a 200 period moving average here. We will compare these two moving averages to verify that the asset is in a bullish trend. I've also added a stochastic indicator down here, and we will use that to generate bullish signals when the stochastic indicator crosses over the oversold line. This program is an example only for learning purposes and not something we would advise you to use in real trading. First, let's create our variables for the moving average and the stochastic in the program. We're going to define MM20 equals average 20, MM200 equals average 200, STO equals stochastic 10, 3. We can actually replace 20 here with the variable short so that the short number of periods will be modifiable, and 200 with long so that this will also be modifiable. And we can add the variable short and long from here. Give it a default value of 20 for short, and long a default value of 200. Let's actually rename our variables here as well. We'll call this first one MM short and this one MM long. Now let's create our first conditional if block. Our first condition will be if the short moving average is greater than the long moving average, then we're going to look at the stochastic. So we enter here in our program, if MM short is greater than MM long, then end if. Next, we're going to create our nested condition within the first condition to test the stochastic. So we enter a line break here, and we enter if sto crosses over 20, then signal equals 1, else signal equals 0, end if. So to recap, in the first part here, we've just declared our variables, the short moving average, the long moving average, and the stochastic with their parameters here. And then here we have our conditions. If the short moving average is greater than the long moving average, then we look at the stochastic, and we have our nested condition here. If stochastic crosses over 20, then signal equals 1, else signal equals 0, and that ends our nested condition. To finish our program, we just enter return signal to display on the chart the signal variable that we have defined here. Then click Add Indicator to Chart to finish. We see here that actually there's a crossover of the stochastic that does not correspond to a signal in our program. That's because the stochastic on the chart here actually had a period of 14, and the one we used in our program here had a period of 10. To correct that, we can just change the number of periods in our program to 14, and then we see the signals displayed like this, or we could change that back to 10 and also change the number of periods of the stochastic on the chart to 10. Finally, if we want to modify the number of periods used for the moving averages here. We can just do that from the indicator parameters with this little wrench key right here. And we can actually see that short 20, long 200, those have their values here that can be adjusted up and down.